Hello, this session is about surveys. It's very likely that at some time in our lives we've all taken part in a survey. We may have been stopped in the street and asked for our opinion about something, for example how we're going to vote. We may have been telephoned by a company to ask about our purchasing intentions. We may have been asked after visiting a hospital or having some kind of treatment or buying something, how satisfied we were with the service we got, and at some time most of us will have taken part in the national census. These are all examples of surveys. Surveys are not experiments, they don't look at cause and effect in quite the same way. However, a survey, if properly executed and properly designed and containing the right instruments and taking the right number of people, is a very powerful design. So in this session, what I want you to be able to do, most of all, is to describe different survey designs. I want you to be able to differentiate between cross-sectional and longitudinal studies, what their weaknesses and what their strengths are. And you'll notice in the articulate PowerPoint within longitudinal studies I refer to trend, cohort and panel studies, and I'd like you to try and understand what those are. You may have to look up the internet or find a book to get more material on that, and you will find that there's some confusion between cohort and panel studies. I'm not going to try and direct your thinking on this, and I make no apology for this. At this kind of stage in your research and learning career, I think you've got to appreciate that there are differences of opinion about these things. Nevertheless, I think that it's useful to differentiate longitudinal studies into trend, cohort and panel studies. We'll give some consideration to sample size, but only in passing, because we'll come back to look at that in more detail when we get on to statistical methods. And towards the end there will be some mention of different statistical analytical techniques, again just in passing. We'll come back to using some very simple statistical techniques towards the end of the module. But there are two things that I do want you to pay some attention to here. One is questionnaire design, how to get the right kind of questions to elicit the right kind of information, and looking at the different kinds of questions, for example open or closed, or Likert choice questions, or questions asking for quantities like age or income. And then I want you to be aware that the best designed survey and the best designed questionnaires are of no use unless you can get them out to people and get them back again. So throughout there will be some consideration of how to maximize the return rate from a questionnaire.